Hello and welcome to the live workshop. I'm Bo from Animation Mentor, the online animation school, and today we have a couple of awesome segments for you. So for the first hour, we have our main topic, which is going to be animBot Unlocked, the Tween Machine, and more, which is going to be a lot of fun. And this is going to be with Nicolás Burmester. And following that, for the other half hour of this workshop, we have a talk with Animation Mentor Student Success Team, Tim and Mars, who will be able to help you with any questions you have about the school or about how to approach learning animation and learning these tools. So with all that out of the way, let's just get things started and jump right in. So Nicholas, feel free to take it away.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this early in the morning. A little bit about myself. I'm a AM alumni. I took the school back in 2016, graduated 2018, and now I'm at Sony Imageworks. Started animating in 2013, doing roto animation, and then took AM, and on the side, I was working in my local industry doing video games and advertisement, but I felt that my skills had kind of like reached a ceiling, took the school, and that catapulted my career. So if you're in the school, you're on the right track. If you're not, think about joining because yeah, it's the best place to learn animation from. And with that, along my career, I found a plugin back in the day that was called Tween Machine. And Tween Machine is nothing but a really good shortcut for animators to create poses on the fly that go between your main key poses, right? And this really speeds up your workflow. Imagine having, because back in the day, you have, I don't know, Glenn Keane, he would draw the main key poses, and then another young in-betweener would come in and they would try and trace or generate fill in the gaps of the motion between the main key poses. Think of this as your own junior animator that's there to help you out in real time. But yeah, when we wanted to do this in 3D without the tool, it's a really long process. I'm gonna show you what I used to do before using the tool. And then we have animBot now that is a super expanded set that I found in every single studio that I've worked professionally in, being here in Canada. They had it at MPC, they had it at Framestore, they had it at On Animation. We have it at Imageworks. Um, so yeah, I think the sooner that you get familiar with this tool set, the better, because you're gonna be, I mean, it's not a requirement, but it does speed up your workflow quite a bit. So I recommend you getting familiar with it. Even you don't have to master everything. We've had 2 webinars so far. Temp controls is a completely different world that it's like I've been tapping my toes into it, and it's like it gives you so much freedom. Global Offset, Eric did a webinar just about one little tool. So I'm just gonna try and focus today on Tween Machine, all the variations that it has, and then some of the other tools that I use like very often at work. So I'll be the way that this is going to work. I have 3 different scenes. I'm gonna show you one where I go over the tools, and then I'm gonna show you 2 different animations for practical uses of these tools. So I'll be sharing my screen right now here, and here we have our friends Taylor and Stewie. For those of you OG AM alumni, Stewie used to be the go-to character for body mechanics before. This is the grandfather of Stuart and Stella and all the tribe characters. So I thought of playing homage to this character. So the Tween Machine is this little tool that we can find down here. It says one that when you hover your mouse on top, you'll see at the bottom, it says Tweener. That's the classic Tween Machine taken to a whole new level. And basically what this does is that if we have here our friend Stewie, and if I were to bring his arm up like this, what this is going to do is that if you look at this, and let me make sure that we are not seeing any infinity here whatsoever, just to make sure that we don't get distracted by anything. We're going to be activating this in a second. But here, if we scrub through the timeline, we see all the frames that it's taking Stewie to get there. And back in the day, if you wanted to get the middle point between these two ones, I'm just gonna go here. If you wanted to get the middle point between those two ones without affecting the interpolation of the characters, you would set this to linear and then find, say, oh, if this is 50%, I'm gonna make a key here. And then if I want to favor that, I'm just gonna select that key and then I'm gonna drag it. And that way you're creating like a 50% value of that key closer to the final key. You're just favoring that. But what animBot does, or what Tweener does, is that you can just go to that frame directly and press in the middle, because this is a slider that goes from -100 to 100. -100 being I'm going to copy exactly the key that precedes this frame, and 100 is I'm going to copy 100% the key that comes after it. And because this is a slider, you can manipulate it and play around with its intensity. So here, say, if I wanted to create a 50% intensity of this transition at frame 8, I have that. And that's a lot faster than, again, doing this, setting everything to linear, taking the key and sliding it. This is a quick example, but when you have all of your key poses, and I'm gonna show you later with an already existing animation how we can fix that or how we can apply this better. But this is the main idea of the tweener. Then we have blend to neighbors. Blend to neighbors here, you can expand this, and that's the beauty of animBot, that you start with the tweener, but you have so many other options here that have a time and a place to be used. So here, say that in this case, we have Stewie doing this in this frame. We have this frame, we have this frame, and then, I don't know, maybe Stewie is going to do this. These are our 3 poses for Stewie. And here, make sure that you have all your keyframes. There we go. We have all those 3 poses. Blend to neighbor is a little bit different in my experience in the way that I use it. I find that when you hit tweener, it creates the pose immediately. Say here, if I wanted to use one of those tools on an already existing frame, and if I want tweener, it would snap right away into what that value is. But if you were to use blend to neighbors, which is this tool that we have here, that's the second one that I use the most, that you can access by expanding this menu here and going directly to this one. Or if you don't want to expand this, this bar right there, which is what I do, because blend to neighbor is one that I use a lot. If you press shift and you hover on top of that, you'll see that it changes name. It goes from tweener to blend to neighbor. And you can play around with that one. You also have BF, blend to frame, and then I'm doing control and having my mouse on top, and that changes if you do control shift, have blend to ease. There's one that I use a lot that I'm going to be showing, which is control alt shift. And you see that it says BB, that is blend to buffer. So there's a lot of things that you can do with that same bar without expanding this. If you don't have enough space, if having a lot of clutter in the screen is something that it's annoying for you. For me, it is having too much information. I try to keep things as minimal as possible. That's something that you can do. So the way that Blend to Neighbor works is that it eases into it. It works better in the way that it, as the name suggests, it blends into the next pose. And the good thing about this, all of these sliders, is that you can also use them in a way to create overshoots or create anticipations in a really easy way. Here, you have that E, that epsilon, that Greek E letter. After that one, right next to it, you will see this one that if you look at the bottom of my screen, it says sliders overshoot mode. When you press it, you'll notice that now there are 3 dots on each side of the sliders. And that means that you have extra room to play with those. So the big squares, that means that that is your minus 100%, and this is your 100%. But those extra ones allow you to go past it. So if I were to press this one in the Tween Machine, the one that goes the furthest, it says Tweener 200%. So if I do that, then it completely overshot all the values. And if I show it to you here with Blend to Neighbor, it's like here, I am already at 100%, but I can keep going, I can keep going, I can keep going. And I use this, say, if you're animating a character punching, and this is your pose A, and this is your pose B, you can have, with these 2 poses, you can have one that goes like that goes, I don't know, 120%, and then you go back to that one just by having those 2 poses. And you just overshoot it, and then I would slide it towards the other side. Like here, for instance, if this is your main pose, why don't we do that really quickly? So here I'm going to select Stewie's arms, and we have this here. Actually, let's do it with an IK control because that's going to be easier. That's going to be easier. We're going to remove the platforms there. Now, do that. If this is our first pose, and then if I wanted to have him reach further there, and then say that I want to go past that value, I could easily go like this, and then you have to add more stretch and all that. But look at the hand. If we were just looking at the hand, you go past it and then you come back. And then you can do this also as a cushion. Here, you might want to do this, and this is something that I do a lot at work. Say, I already created my main pose, and I'm like, how can I push it? And then I can go to this one, to the one that I already created, and I slide it, and I put it after that. So you create sort of like a cushion just to get to that pose. The next tool that I want to show is Blend to Buffer. And for that one, we're going to be using our friend Taylor, which I think can be very helpful. Taylor, as you guys know, has squash and stretch. And this is something else that animBot has that is really neat. Say you have a frame here, a frame there. If you want to create like really quick noise animation, I have those 2 keyframes only. I can expand the green slider that I have on the side. And that one has one tool that says simplify bake keys. If you click on that one and if you drag it, you'll see that it starts creating keyframes for you. And if you pair that up with this one that's called Noise Wave, you have free animation. right away. And then you have a small cycle that you can keep using. With those two tools, you have more things. There's another one that I use a lot that is called the push-pull. You have this already, and let's say that we want to scale this up. If you wanted to do it manually, you would select your scale tool here or press the R key and then you'll see that my cursor changes to a square. And then in that case, you will have to sort of like middle click in your graph editor and then shift and drag upwards. And that way you will scale from that point. But that's too many steps, and I'm lazy, and I like using sliders. So I just go here to my friend PP push pull, and I just move this. It does depend though where you are, uh, where your cursor is. See, because if I have it like it depends on how many keyframes you have selected. In this case, since I want the whole thing to be scaled, I just go to that one and I just use it. But if you saw in the example previously, I think I had only this, and the results can vary. If you want something that increases, you can just like change where you like how many keyframes you selected, and you have different results. So sometimes we do want this sort of like effect that is sort of like increasing and at the same time going higher. You could do that. Say maybe this was a little bit too much. If you guys don't know, that little line that I have in the back is something that I always teach my students. It's called the buffer curves. In a nutshell, a buffer curve is a safe undo that you can have with you anytime. And this one is something that I really use all the time at work. It allows you to explore ideas on the fly. And I'm going to show you that right now. So buffer curves, the way that you activate them, you go to view, and you need to make sure that you have show buffer curves active. After that, what you can do here, you have two options. One of them was take snapshot. I haven't used this one in a bit because I only use this one. I'm just gonna show you what I use. These two buttons right here, the one that is an arrow pointing down and the one that is two arrows, those ones allow you to take a snapshot, take a picture of the current shape of the curve that you have, and then you can go back and use it. So if you press on this one, at the bottom it says buffer curve snapshot, select a curve to buffer. And when you press it, nothing's going to happen until you select a key and then you move it. And then in the back, you'll see where that keyframe previously was. So if I were to say make changes to this in any way, so let's get crazy with this. This is our new animation. I started playing with it. I started exploring ideas. I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I want this part to be more flat. And then at some point, I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to go back to what I had. With buffer curves, you can easily swap, and then you don't lose your animation. But animBot takes this to the next level. So say you have your new sort of version of the animation, but you're like, man, uh, I really liked what I had before, and I just want to sprinkle some of those details on top. You can do this with animation layers, but sometimes it's better to have it already in your animation. So what I would do in this case, I would swap to my original curve. And then here, you're going to see that if we go back to our main, to the tweener slider, and if you open that up, you want to look for the one that says BB, blend to buffer. That's the one that I was saying that the hotkey for it is Control Alt Shift. If you go to this mode and I go Control Alt Shift, you'll see that it goes from TW to BB, right? We do that, and I'm going to expand it right now. If I move this, where's the BB? Here. You'll see that it blends to that buffer curve. And that's really powerful. And that's really powerful because you already explored two ideas, and sometimes all you need is just like a little extra. This can be useful more, say, if you have, again, very little overlap or squash and stretch, and then it basically works as an animation layer on the fly in my experience, and I think that's a great way to use it, but also to explore ideas, because here again you can have this noise wave, right? And then you go with push and pull, and then I'm like, yeah, well, maybe that's too much. And then you can go to this one. This one can be all, you can zero this one out. And then with this one, maybe I just need a little bit, just a little bit of squash and stretch. Maybe not a lot, just a little bit. And that's one of the usages. Another one is that I'm going to show you. I think for the next one, I am going to be showing you real examples of how to use it. This is an animation that I did in class 3 back in 2017, so not that long ago. And for this one, what I had Stewie do, I'm just gonna play it once. It might be skipping frames, but there are things that if I had animBot back then, it would have made my life a lot easier. In this case, we have Stewie, right? He was supposed to be recording like a challenge or something for YouTube, jumping on a treadmill with a yoga ball. And then he does this, and then boom, and then he gets stuck in the wall, and then he drops. So some of the things that I want to show you here are these ones. And I think that for this, yeah. The next one is Temp Pivot. Temp Pivot is a tool that animBot has that allows you to manipulate your rig from different points. A pivot point is, say, here. If I'm going to rotate a character, you see that the manipulator is in the middle, and that little square means that is the pivot point. If I were to rotate that ball, it's going to rotate from that point. If we were to do it, say, here, it's going to rotate from that point. And then that little guy over there is going to rotate from the middle. Pardon the refresh issues, but what Temp Pivot does is comes really in handy when we have moments like this. In this moment, I had Stewie like really flat into the wall, and everything that I had for him was in FK. But if I wanted to have that doing effect, I had to counter animate a lot of things. I remember doing, I think the old way to do this, it was let me see where this is. Okay, this is also something that I didn't do when I was in school. Name your anim layers, name your display layers, because then you're like, okay, what am I doing here? And then we have the ball here, geo ball, you see? Ball, there we go. I kind of did it. So what I did in this case, when I was animating this, I think I had to do the old trick, creating, a square, probably finding that square, bringing it here, making sure that the character was not moving, and basically going pixel by pixel, making sure that it felt as though he was moving from the head. Thankfully, technologies at that point where we can fix that easily. So for that part, what I would do now, I would just select the COG of the character and then go to this little guy that says Temp Pivot. Temp Pivot, when you click on it, you'll see that you have a new pivot point that is movable, that you can glide it. So in this case, I am just going to move that pivot point that was here. I want it to be around the neck because that's the point that I want to be able to move it. And I move it there. And then once you're happy with it, if you want to try to rotation, I just hit the E key on my keyboard, and that moves the temp pivot to that point. And that allows me to just like move the character there and say I do that. And then if I move to the next keyframe, sometimes this can happen. But thankfully, we have another file here that I can show you. That's just Maya. That's not just animBot. But what that can do is that when you move things from to a different point, say like this, it allows you to move things from different points. And then once you deselect it, your pivot remains the same. Your pivot remains the same. You're not changing the pivot for the whole animation. You're not modifying your rig. These are things that you can also recreate with the temp controls. But if you want a quick fix for something that you're doing, you can use it too. I also use it a lot for treating IK limbs as if they were FK. So let's have Stewie again here. So we have Stewie, and let's select all the controls from Stewie here. We have Stewie here, IK enable, and then here I am going to move this friend here. Maybe let's go here. This is better. This is a neutral pose for him. So we have Stewie. And if I wanted to move this arm down in a natural way, say with FK, you can just do this. But with IK, it's a little bit more tricky because you're gonna have to do this and then rotate it and then adjust it. There's an easier way. You can also create here a temp pivot, move it towards the shoulder, and then you can move it like this as if it was FK. And that's the main problem sometimes trying to animate IK, that it feels really IK. It feels that you have something pinned and the character is kind of like moving, but the hand is kind of like stuck in place. With this, you can recreate that feeling of FK with IK just by using Temp Pivot. And then the beauty of this, I use it a lot to clean arcs. If I'm, for whatever reason, I need to use a lot of IK in a shot, I just do that. And then with animBot's motion trail, you activate it. And then let me show it to you in an actual animation here. Say if I wanted to activate here the motion trail, I have that. And then if I pair that up with the temp pivot, yeah, you can combo all of these tools. That's the great thing about it. It's not one at the same time. You can have a lot of them working in tandem, and that really speeds up your workflow. Here, I'm going to show some other tools that I think are really useful. We're 8:30, so we still have at least 15 minutes. Let me go back to this one. There we go. For this guy, I have something too. Here we have Bolly. This is also the first walk that I did at AM. It's not perfect, but we have Bolly walking. What I teach to my students also is try and animate smarter and not harder. Don't try and fight Maya. If you already animated half of your cycle, don't polish the, like, if you already polished one step, you don't have to polish all three of all the other steps. No, like really spend your time making those first 25 frames, 24 frames look really, really good. And then you can just cycle it. And even, I would say, even to the point that if you're doing a vanilla walk, you can even just focus on the main poses. So here, what I'm gonna do right now is I am going to delete some of the frames that I have here. And now what I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm creating a snapshot just so I can easily go back to it. But if I wanted to, oh, here, I'm gonna show another, I'm gonna use this to show you another tool that is present in animBot. If you wanted to bake this, bake means that you are going to delete everything in your animation and you're just gonna leave the keyframes that you want. The normal way to go about this is you go to edit, you go to keys, you go to bake simulation and say, okay, I want everything to be done. Yeah, I want keys every 3 frames, and this is going to make your animation. It's going to get rid of everything else in the middle. It's going to give you this. Again, that is like a bit of a lengthy process with animBot. And what I found is that if you wanted to only do a segment, you're gonna lose all the remaining animation. But with animBot, you can select your chunk of animation, and here you can go to this little cupcake. And if you right click on it, it allows you to bake on twos, bake on threes, bake on fours, custom intervals. So if I wanted to do bake on twos, it does the same thing super fast. You can do more. And if I say, if I wanted this part only on twos, you could do bake on twos, and now that part is on twos. So it gives you a lot more freedom. So let's say I want this to be baked on threes because those are the main poses of, here, bake on threes. I probably, here you need to make sure that you're selecting all the frames of the controllers. Okay, yeah, sometimes you have those little things over there, but this should be, oh yeah, I don't know what this curve is, so we don't need it. There we go. So here say that we have our main poses for a walk cycle, right? So frame 6, and then we have frame 30. And I'm gonna go to left view, 6, and 30. What I do at this point is that I'm just gonna select this guy here. And if I wanted to have the opposite side of the walk, I'm just gonna select this guy. And I'm gonna go to the mirror pose tool that we have. And that's just gonna flip it. Here, I already made some changes to the, there we go. I wasn't selecting the scale knee attributes. And that one is the same as that one. It's just that I moved it in place. And this can really speed up everything. So if you wanted to animate this, you can just do one side of the character, and then boom, you already have the other side. Same as with this one, same as with this one, same as with this one, same as with that one. And it allows you to just flip your animation on the fly. At work, I also had to do, if you guys saw the Bad Guys 2 that came out this summer, I was animating this character that was a luchador walking into the ring. I showed reference of myself. I had to put on a backpack just to sell the weight of that. And I focused on animating first half of the character, and then I just like flipped the pose, and then maybe you can add a little bit more unevenness to the character, a little bit more texture to that. But the building blocks is just like, and unless you have an injury and you're walking, you're gonna be pretty symmetrical. But then, yeah, if you have a bad hip or if you have a bad shoulder, you're gonna start compensating, and that's when you start adding a little bit more texture to your character if you want to. But the base is going to be the it's just going to be the vanilla walk, which is pretty symmetrical, unless again you're doing a personality pose. Here, now that we have everything, I'm going to show one of the final tools that I want to show you. Here, let me show you something. Here we have Bolly walking in place, right? Sometimes, for whatever reason, we need to have a character walking in place. What I did here, and I'm just gonna show you how to do it the other way around. Unmute selected. Here I counter animated. So we know that in a vanilla walk, translation should be a straight line. So because I have a straight line, what I did was I just copied that curve and I pasted it onto the root and I inverted it. Here again, with animBot's tools, I just selected here. You have scale from neighbor left, scale from neighbor right. And what I did here is just that if you do this one, scale from neighbor left, and if I want the curve to flip, and this is my 0 point, I just select both of them, and then I just invert it like this. And if you wanted to do more, you know what to do. You can just do push-pull, or if you, you can keep doing that, and then you increase the same curve. Without changing the shape of the curve, you can manipulate it, you can extend it, and do more. And now that I have that, we have that feeling that our character is moving in place, right? It's now just moving in place. And then things that you can do here, say now, for whatever reason, you need to remove the animation that you have on the root of the character, on the master control, but you want to keep everything as is from the feet up. What you do here is, and this is like a little bit of a technical process, but I use it a lot to go the other way around. If I animate a character in place and I wanted to move it outside of the root, I do this, but this should work. So the way that it works is that you select your IK controllers, and then you're gonna select the body of the character. And you're gonna go here to this other little guy, which is the final tool that I wanted to showcase. And on the side, I'm just gonna also open, I'm going to be opening Stewie's shot because there is something else that I wanna show you that is actually pretty cool, because you can use some of these blend tools to blend into world space. World space is what we see in the screen. The rigs have values, say from 1 to 10, and you can move them in that range. But sometimes we say you're animating a character walking and you want to delay the head. If you use these tweeters, and even if you go to the most further back, sort of like end of the slider, your character is not going to be exactly in the same screen space position where it was before. If it's walking, the head is not going to stick to the back. But sometimes we want to do that. So I'm gonna open these files on in the back. So what we do here is we select the feet of the character, we select the root of the character, and then you go here, we right click on the little world, and we hit copy XForm world space playback range. Boom, and you see that everything turns blue. Now we go to our root character. The way that I use this at work also is because when you should never animate the master control. The master control, you set it and forget it. But that's when you export it. Like when you pass it to downstream departments, nothing has to have animation in it. But sometimes you are making changes on the fly, and you're like, well, the master moves everything. I don't have time to create temp control. I don't have time to do any locators. I just move the master, and it looks good. In 2D space, it looks good. Same, I'm animating a jump, and in that jump, I animated the master, but then I need to clean that up. I use this a lot. So to recap, I selected these two guys. I went also with the root. I hit copy X from wall space playback range. And now I'm going to delete the animation that's also affecting my character, that's outside of those controllers. In this case, it was a root. So by deleting it, now he's back to moving like this, right? So now we do the same process. We select this very same controllers, we right click, and then we go paste, X form, world space, all keys. And look at that. Now body is moving in place, and we don't have any animation here in the root. What if we want to do this now? In this case, it should be inverted, right? Because we want body to move past it. So we want to do this, right? We can do the same thing. We're going to go here, select these guys, copy it from relationship. We can delete whatever animation we have that's affecting our character, and then paste. And now he's moving outside of that. So these are like a lot of elements that we can use to be a lot more free in our workflow without being sort of like bound to the tools. And the final thing that I want to show is this, how you can use the blend in an animation. Here, say we have Stewie sort of like being pulled down. And what I wanted to do that there, I wanted to sell the idea that he was sort of like, is it gonna crash? I think it's gonna crash. It's a very old rig. It's a very old rig. It's nothing to do with that. I'm just gonna show you here. I mean, it's not an old rig. It's an old scene that I didn't. Hold on. Okay, we have Stewie here. If we move Stewie from here to here, we see that the whole body is moving. Even if here you wanted to move the sliders, nothing's going to happen because there's no animation in here. But the final tool that I wanted to show is the mix of those two, the one that I showed you before and the tweeners. You can use the blend to neighbors, the one that has the little world next to it, and parts of the body are going to snap to where that object previously was in world space. So here, if for whatever reason you wanted to do like, I don't know, for a very cartoony stuff, you have here, and then you wanted to go back to this, and for some reason you want the head to drag, you could do this with these tools. Again, I think I could talk about animBot like for hours and hours and hours. Just try to show you some of the tools that I use the most. Yeah, I think if you guys have any questions on the site, I'm gonna try and open again that treadmill file, because I don't know, Murphy's Law. It worked well the whole week.
It's always as soon as the recording starts. And
Yeah,
I will say, as someone who recently had to transfer some stuff from a 10-year-old file, things don't work. It is, I
yeah.
feel your pain. Uh, so we do have a few questions here while you're opening up that file. The first one kind of relates to what you were talking about at the beginning, where you mentioned that Tween Machine is like having a junior animator.
Hmm.
When we're using Tween Machine and all of these blends, and creating poses using it, does this mean that we can let it take over and do the work for us? Or should we always be working actively with it? In
Oh
other
yeah.
words, will it give us, I just slide this thing, cool, I'm done, I don't have to do anything else? Or is it just a starting point to help speed up the workflow?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's a starting point. You never sort of like leave the pose the way that it gives it to you, but it's so much faster than doing it manually because the beauty of this is that you can isolate certain controls. Say you only want to do a little bit of an overshoot on the eyes or in the mouth or in one finger. And sometimes, I mean, sometimes it works its magic and it's like it's perfect, but you need to be babysitting it a lot. And it's like the same as Maya. You have your keyframes, but you never like that's why we animate often on twos or on threes or even on ones, because we want to be the ones in control and not letting Maya animate, because Maya is the worst in betweener in the world. Uh, Maya would never get a job. Because of how yeah, how mathematically accurate it is. Because yeah, we don't want anything to be like super accurate. We want to be creative, and we want to have intention behind what we do. I think yeah, you need to be actively on top of things.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, the mathematical correctness is fantastic in some cases, but when you're creating life, it you notice it when it's too clean and too perfect and
absolutely.
mathematical.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have another question here, just kind of a broad question. You're showing the differences between the tween tools and the blend tools, and there's the yellow and green sliders for them. For someone who is kind of new to what those are, can you explain what the difference is? Why are there green and yellow blend versus tween? What's the difference?
Oh, yeah. So the in my experience, when you just hit, I'm gonna, can I share my screen again just so
Oh
I
yeah.
can I can show in this place. Yeah. So blend versus tween. They're basically, I mean, if you want to keep things simple, you could only use the tween. These are things that make everything a little bit more, not more complex, but they, once you master the tweener, you're going to be thinking, oh, wouldn't it be nice that this slider blended into the next pose? The tweener normally is just a snapshot. It's like, again, a mathematically correct calculation between those two poses that you just hit, and then it happens. Similar as what we were doing with here and then say here, the tweener is just gonna move it like this. But the blend is going to slowly move into the other pose. It's going to as the name suggests, it's going to blend into the next one. It's not going to become the next one. It's going to like you're creating like an ease into that next pose. And the green ones uh, have like a lot different behaviors. Say, there's a lot of them that I haven't really used that I encourage you to give a try. Ones that I use a lot, again, noise wave. That one creates again like a noise wave in your curve, in your already existing curve. Push pull allows you to scale up and down the frames. Simplify bake keys allows you to create more keys or reduce the amount of keys. One that I've been using a lot at work, and let's see if this one works, if it's not going to make it crash. Say here, I have this curve, this rotation curve. If I want to use, and we see that it's a little bit dirty. If I wanted to clean that up, you could just like move it and do all of that. But animBot has one tool that's called smooth rough that when you move it, it allows you to sort of like adjust and do like a quick polish path in your animation. And you can have that. And look, in a matter of seconds, I already polished my curve. Again, this all has to have intention behind it. I need to know what I'm doing, because if I start applying that to all my curves, maybe I had intention behind that. Maybe I wanted to create texture, or I needed something to be a little bit sort of like jerky or stroby for creative reasons. And then I got rid of it because I wanted to make all my curves look pretty. Like, and in this case, let me see if this works. This is the final try. This is the final try. There we go. So here, what I'm doing with Stewie is just that I'm manipulating his head in world space, just because I wanted to say, hold that pose for a little longer and then snap it more. But if I were to use any of the other of the other ones here, uh, it's just going to move within the parameters that we have for those values, but not in workspace. So I encourage you guys to try all of these sliders. animBot has plenty of resources to go over those. You can activate the little preview, the show tooltips, and those are going to show you also how to use those tools if you have more questions in particular. They have like real examples there as well on how to use them. But yeah, every
That
single slider has a time in a place. But
that's really cool.
if you're starting out, just get familiar with the tweener and blend to neighbor. You can do pretty much, I don't know, 80% of everything that's here with those two sliders.
That's really cool. I really love how not only does, for example, the smooth curve one, you can smooth it. Maya has a tool that allows you to do that. But one, it's interactive. So you can just go in and you don't have to maybe 25%. Oh no, that's not right. Oh, let's undo 30%. No, that's not right. You can see it visually. But then on top of that, you can go the other way and do the opposite.
Yeah,
It just gives you so much creative freedom of let me feel this out versus I hope this is going to get right.
absolutely. Yeah,
And then we have another question here regarding the temp pivot that you were showing earlier.
right.
You were showing, in this case, the kind of wobble in the wall there. And the question we have here is, do we need to move and create the temp pivot for every frame as you're animating, or do you set it once and then you can animate the whole section
Yeah,
until you
yeah.
turn it off again?
Yeah, no, you with the newer versions, because the predecessor of animBot, A tools, in that one, I believe that we had to create it every single time, but with animBot, you only create it once, and then it stays. Let me try here, and I'm gonna share my screen in a bit. Yeah, so here, let me show my screen here. Yeah, so this is the same scene that we have created before. This is the default pivot that Bolly has. And when we activate the temp pivot, it goes to the bottom and then it moves with the character. You see that it's moving there with the character. So it follows it. It follows it. So it's really handy because you have two different pivot points for your rig on the fly, and that you can also change, right? So you have that one, and then if you press the insert key, you can just like change where the temp pivot is, and then it's up there now, and then you can manipulate it from there, and it's gonna follow it from that point as well. And that's non-destructive because you're not making changes to the rig, you're just creating a layer on top that's manipulating the rig. It's the same as creating back in the day, and still today, like a locator tree, or now creating a bunch of different temp controls with animBot. it's the same thing. It allows you, it gives you a lot more freedom.
That is really cool. As someone who has used the Temp Pivot recently on a project, it is such a lifesaver.
It
Being able
is,
to just,
yeah,
like you were showing there, put it on the top of the head and just have it feel like the character's swinging from the top of their head or from a different point instead of having to do this complex counter animation or
yeah.
a complex constraint setup, especially when you're dealing with a rig. It's it makes life so much more enjoyable. It makes animating much more enjoyable and fun, less of a technical hurdle.
Yeah.
And we have a question here, which I believe uh, animBot already has a feature for this. You were doing a few examples, and Maya was crashing there. Is there anything that we can do to help prevent Maya from crashing uh, while we're using animBot? Or does animBot have a tool that can help with the crashing?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, animBot has this one, and I think um, this one is actually pretty useful. You have the anim recovery that you activated, and it's going to prompt you every, I don't know, 15 minutes or so to save your file, but also it creates snapshots of your work that you can go back to and recover your file from what it was. Sometimes, especially when you're dealing with old files, if if you're using a rig, because that one was the old rig that I had, again with old files, it's always like it's not animbot's fault. It's just like it's like you're trying to open a file, I don't know, a Word file that was created in 92 in the new Office is probably going to say, oh, the formats don't work. But if you're using everything that is like current, it should work. Crashes happen. We're working with computers. Computers are not perfect. Sometimes we run out of memory, and then there's something that happens. I find um, just if you're using the temp pivot, and this is just a piece of advice, if you're using temp pivot or if you're using motion trail, my advice would be to close the graph editor. For some reason, I find that it's more likely that you're going to have crashes if you are showing the graph editor. So what I do at work, just to be safe, maybe this is just superstition, but I found that I have much less crashes when my graph editor is closed when I'm doing those visual changes. And then I clean everything up after when I turn off the motion trail or the temp pivot.
That does make sense. I know that a lot the viewports do take a lot of processing power when you're using
Yeah.
a tool like that. For example, a quick tip for anyone who's doing a lot of baking in Maya, if ever you're doing a long scene and you want to bake the shot and it's taking forever, if you close down your viewport and the graph editor, you just need the outliner there,
Mm.
and then you hit the bake, it'll be instant. It'll just go
Mhm.
through, done, right away, instead
Yeah.
of doing that slow process through the scene. So I'm sure closing the graph editor there, especially when you're seeing that visual feedback of the sliders, would
Yeah.
definitely help with the load on the PC.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Awesome. So we're close to time here. Um, there's one last question here I think we can get to. Um, and this kind of goes into what you were showing about the walk cycle and about animating one side and then mirroring it over, and what you were talking about with your luchador scene, which was such a wonderful scene. That whole sequence was just, oh, Bad
Mhm.
Guys 2. If anyone hasn't seen Bad Guys 2, do yourself the favor and check it out. It is amazing. The animation, oh, beautiful. But I'm getting distracted. So the question here is, I wanted to swap fingers from the right hand to the left hand. Will the mirror tool help me do that? And are you able to do that per frame or across an entire span of frames? Like, for example, let's say the whole animation, you just need to swap it.
Yeah, I think that you can do. Let me see if I can show you that here right now. Show tooltips. Let me see if we can do a quick try here. Uh, oh, well, I have volley here, but let me move. Well, Well, with Stewie here is a little bit different because the way that his fingers were, we have this guys like this, but it all depends on how your care. I've never tried it with this guy, but let's see. Let's see if the master curl works. We have the master curl here like this, and then say I want it. Well, here it had to be. I mean, it actually does work. It actually does work. It's just that you would have to create like hit the control that you wanted, and there you have it. And it does work for flipping, even for like older rigs. If a rig is being set up the right way, everything should work. Uh, everything should work. And mirror all keys. I find that you can do the whole animation, or you can do frame by frame. If I haven't tinkered with mirroring parts of an animation, I'm a little bit more old school, and I just mirror. Like I can go to the next frame and then mirror frame by frame. I'm sure that there might be a. If you play with this, you might find a way that maybe if you trim this part of the time frame, you'll find different results. Honestly, I haven't played with mirroring parts of a whole animation. I can think of a place where you would do that. But certainly you can just for certain poses, you can just like flip them on the fly. And it's very fast. So if you have an animation and you have your keyframes, your main keys already set, it's going to be a matter of just like going to the next one and mirror, going to the next one, mirror, going to the next one, mirror, and it shouldn't take you too long either way.
That's cool. The mirror function is definitely a lifesaver, especially if you're doing a cycle and you just want to quickly get it over to the other side. It's so much
Yeah.
nicer than having to try and copy curves and values and flipping curves, all of that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, you have and this is one that I didn't get to show, but if you go to the extra tools on the side, you have so many other options. Here you have reverse animation, which is say you animate one character, I don't know, walking, and then maybe we can do it quickly with Stuart or with Bolly here. So we have him here just walking, and say that okay, we ended the animation right there, and let me go, I don't know, 100. You could, so here you can select the whole animation, and then you can hit this guy and then reverse animation, and then now he's just like walking backwards, and now he's just walking backwards. And if if you're doing a cycle, say you have him like this, you can select uh the animation. This animbot, I can tell you, I can talk about the animbot for hours. You can copy the animation, and then you can paste the whole animation there, and paste animation, paste, replace, paste, insert. Sorry. And then you can select this part of the animation, the one that you just pasted, and then you can reverse that one. And then he gets there, and then what? It's like that Abraham Simpson gif that he goes into a bar restaurant, and then like what? But this can be useful. Say you're animating a cycle. I did this also for a movie. I had a background character just cheering, and then they told me, "Oh, the animation now needs to be 3 times as long." And I had already animated a character cheering, and it was a background character. I just copied the animation, flipped it, and then copied copied it and flipped it again. So I just had the character doing this, and then it was this, but it was so seamless. And then I went to the stitch points. Then I used the smooth rough tool, and I made sure that it was like seamless. And then I had free animation in like 5 minutes instead of
That's awesome.
spending 3 more days working on the cheating, because it was just going to be someone in the back, just adding energy to a shot rather than detail.
That's really cool. Well, thank you so much for going over all of that. Like you were saying, the tool itself is amazing. Like you have all of these individual things that are powerful, but then when you start mixing them, like you were saying in the last example of, okay, you can copy and paste and insert and then reverse, and then you can blend between, and you start mixing them all together. It's like every tool exponentially grows in power.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a tool set that I encourage every veteran animator or up and coming animator to get familiar with, because again, what I try and tell to my students, I want them to animate smarter and not harder. And we already spent a lot of time in front of screens, in front of the computer. I just want them to enjoy as much outside time that they want, especially now that it's getting dark at 5 p.m. Um, so yeah, just be mindful of your choices. Uh, but the one thing is that you are the one in charge here. There's no tool set that's going to make your animation shine if you don't master the 12 principles. If you, first of all, if you're not passionate about animation, there's no animate button. We see a lot of like AI softwares trying to do that. But you are the animators here. You are the ones in charge. And if you're attending this webinar, you are at the best place. I mean, AM will give you all the tools. The mentors are the best in the industry. Now, I don't know. I've gotten to work with mentors of mine now that I'm in the industry, and it's really nice how seeing how you can come full circle thanks to the school, thanks to everything that the school gives you, not only the knowledge but also networking, like people that you go to school with, then they are your colleagues, and then you start advancing in your career, and then you see them, I don't know, becoming senior animators, becoming lead animators, becoming head of studios, and like, or now some of my supervisors also took AM. I don't know when AM first opened, and we're both alumni of AM, but they just took the class back in 2007, back in 2008, and we all share that in common that we all went through AM. So if you're questioning, should I sign up for this school? Should I go to another one? Just sign up here. It's the best place to learn animation from. The community is great. Student care is the best. Bo has been around for a while. I was sending emails to Bo when I was in school asking for help, and he was always super nice and ready to help. Student support, they're all the best. And I wish you the best of luck in all of your animation career, to all of you watching this webinar.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Nicholas. Uh, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, to go over all of this demo. For everyone here, we will have a second little section here with Tim and Mars, the student success coaches here at AM. But once again, I do want to say thank you so much, Nicholas. This was absolutely amazing.
Thank you guys for having me. Yeah.
Well, take care, Nicholas. And Tim and Mars, I'll give the floor to you.
Awesome.
Give us your floor.
It's it's hard coded here. I can
Yeah.
send you a piece of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, listening to that, especially the end of that,
I know the end, right? Yeah.
it's like I was gonna like just log out and leave. I was like,
He
what am I
covered
here
it.
for? Yeah, I think he nailed it.
Right.
So well, Mars, what do you think, man?
That's awesome. Really cool to see that. Yeah, and it, again, just hearing the testament of studying at Animation Mentor,
Yeah.
getting into the industry, finding out that your colleagues were also your former classmates,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then taking that even a step further and becoming a mentor and giving back to the community that you learn from. I mean, that's the story right there.
Dude, his work is amazing too. If you see this stuff, because he's a little bit of everything. He's got Spider-Verse
Oh
stuff,
yeah, yeah,
the bad guy stuff. What's really neat is that, we talked about, the networking opportunities. He graduated in 2018 from AM. And so if you can imagine, and after we're done, I'm going to look through, his classes, and I want to see
Right.
who's in his class with him. Cause can you imagine being in class with him and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, they didn't even know that they
Yeah,
could
right.
be networking with Nicolas in there.
Right.
And, so who knows, maybe they did, yeah. Yeah, she is a little scary in the background. I'm putting her away. We just had a meeting yesterday and she was in there too. She's getting put away today, this weekend anyway.
It is a little scary.
A
Tim,
little scary.
if you don't know Tim, he's kind of big on Halloween decorations.
I do love Halloween.
I told him he's going to put a Santa costume on that.
Yeah, it could happen.
But yeah, so yeah, just in case you don't know, we are student success coaches here, which is really cool that we have student success team. It's not like you just, like Nicolas was saying, you don't just sign up for classes and we just say good luck. Like you've got some support along the way through your mentors, through us. And what we do is we answer in this portion of the webinar is answer any questions that you have about the school. So if you have any questions about how things work, how classes work, how do you sign up, how do you apply, how much do things cost,
all the things,
all the things, right? We're here for that. So feel free to throw those in the Q&A panel. I know we're all kind of looking at the chat as well. So
pretty neat. I mean, I just keep reflecting back on that stuff, and this is like full circle for people like him to do this, to get out there. I mean, he started in class 1 went all through classes, right? All 6 of the classes and doing his thing. And so it's really neat to see somebody like that. I just can't get enough of that. And especially looking at his work, because even before I jumped into this, I was looking at all the stuff. I was watching his e-critiques with, with students and hearing how he was reviewing work. And I'm like, man, that's absolutely phenomenal. So he, yeah, kudos to him, because this could be you. Any of you people that are, here with us here on this thread, I mean, that could easily be you that are maybe, hosting one of these workshops for us, a couple of years from now. I mean,
that's right.
So it could happen.
I remember graduation not too long ago too. Well, it was an in-person graduation. It may have been a few years ago now, but one of our commencement speakers was Mario Orlando, and he was like kind of like visibly nervous, and it was because he was sitting in the audience not that long ago. So so many of our mentors are former students, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So Christine has a question. And it's funny because I was corrected on how to say the name properly. Christine, we actually just had a great conversation.
I remember the application coming through.
Yeah, just before this. So just to let you know, making characters, how many hours goes into that. So we had talked a little bit about sort of different areas of the pipeline. Creating characters versus animating characters, those are 2 different jobs. So we do have 3D character modeling courses, so you can definitely take a course there. I would say starting out, how do they go about making their first character? I mean, you got to have the instruction on that. That's it's kind of like you're like a digital sculptor. And you learn how to do that. It takes quite a bit of training.
Got to have the concept piece, right?
Right.
Take that into model, and probably using ZBrush and Maya in there.
Exactly.
Creating T poses and stuff. And there's a lot.
Using that character behind you.
Yeah. You know one right there. Yeah. Big giant clay sculping. Yeah.
So we do have 2 12-week courses in 3D character modeling. So you can check those out on our website as well.
Dilip Chandra. I'm an animator with 9 years experience, but I'm not satisfied with my work. I want to level up my work. Whoops, that one went by. Level up my work. I was thinking to join AM. What program would you recommend, and how much might it cost? So what we do for situations like this, because 9 years is pretty good, right? That's a lot. And so what we do is we typically have a place for you. So what we will do is have you apply for advanced placement with us. So it's a basic, standard application that we have all of our students fill out, except for one thing. It gives you a little box you can check that says, yes, I want to apply for advanced placement. What we'll do is, what you'll do is you'll copy and paste your reel into that application. We will send that over to one of our mentors. They will review your reel, go through it frame by frame to make sure that they don't miss anything. And then they'll come back with some really great feedback notes to tell you what worked, what didn't work. And then also what class they would recommend you start off with. And so that's sort of our fair way of doing it, because we have somebody else look at that and they can tell you which class you'd be best suited to start off. It's a great process. It's free to do that process, by the way. And then what happens is that Mars and I will reach out to you after we get the application and the reel reviewed, and we want to talk to you about those notes and give them to you and hopefully match you up with the class and the mentor that's going to work for you.
Yeah, and I think you might have answered James Archer's question too. What would you do to start if you want to get back into animating? I would like to start animating again, have no idea where to start. Sounds like maybe you've got experience already, so that could be a good program for you. The other thing to do is schedule a meeting with us. We can talk to kind of see where you're at, see what your skill level is. If it's been a while and you're just need to get back into it. If you haven't studied the 12 principles, our animation basics course could be a good place to start off with. Or if you haven't touched Maya in a really long time, start off with our 6-week Maya animation course. Or if those things are kind of, part of, your skill set already, then we could talk about, maybe starting you with a higher level class.
I dig it. Cool, cool. Sai Karan. Well, yes, sir. I have some questions to ask.
Ask away.
Feel free. Oh, look at that. Huh. Yeah. I'm from India. Can you provide online class for our Indians? Well, you know what? It's what we do. We've been teaching online animation. Actually, we're the very first online animation school in the world, dare I say, what? The universe. So Sai, this is all we've been doing since 2005. So we've only taught these courses online. And so we've been doing it a long, long time. We have plenty of students from India. So we would love to have you as one as well. So come on over digitally.
Absolutely. Cool. Yeah, what else? Other questions? Please feel free to ask away. Otherwise, we are currently accepting applications for both our winter and our spring terms. If you have animation experience using Maya already, you can apply for our winter term. And if you're brand new, if you haven't animated in Maya just yet, or maybe used another software like Blender or something like that, you want to get started with Maya, and you want to apply for our spring term that starts in April of next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then for folks that are applying for advanced placement, that also is you, right? So you can start in our winter term, because winter is coming, as we've said. It's almost here. I mean, it feels like it's kind of here.
Well, it's been snowing for 3 days here, so.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm in shorts, although I have this sweet sweater vest on. I don't know, it's a fleece vest maybe, but yeah, I'm rocking shorts.
That's Tim style.
Yeah,
where
that's how I do it.
You're from the Bay?
Yeah, I'm from the Bay. That's what we do.
I was wearing shorts outside when it was snowing the other day.
Yeah, see? So
and flip-flops.
Let's take a look. What else we got? Wow. Yeah. Well, Christian Moonchild, yeah, just curious how many students become animators for the company when they graduate, if they wanted to join the company. I'm assuming maybe the company's animation mentor, maybe. I'm not sure, but
or maybe a studio.
Maybe a studio, right? So we do, so we have a cool job board that a lot of our students go off of, but at the same time, like Nicolas was saying, you never know who you're in class with. And so, networking with your classmates is a great way to go, because all of a sudden you can find yourself in a situation where you're like, wow, I'm in this class with this person is an amazing animator, not even knowing that he's going to end up over at Sony. Right. And, becoming friends and community, having your own little community along the way. And then, AM Mentor, they put on theirs on Christian's message. But yeah, there are many of them that do come back to Animation Mentor to teach classes, but they have to be guys like Nicolas, that are like so giving, that sort of see the value in everything that we're doing. They've been through this journey and have been actually out there making shows that we know, or making games that we know.
Right.
And also they have to be good people to be able to work
point.
as mentors here at the school. And so, and he fits all of that, and so that's kind of what it takes to get into this place.
Cool. Yeah, Sai's got another one. So, sir, for getting a job for animation in companies, what should I make a perfect demo reel? Sir, please tell us, sir. Well, that's what we do too. So a lot of students ask, what degree or certificate do I get from Animation Mentor? That's a totally valid question. You do get a certificate when you complete one of our 18-month programs. But more importantly, what we are focusing on here and helping students with is to create that professional level demo reel that reviewing or hiring studios rather would really like to see. So that's, I mean, that's exactly what we do. We're giving you feedback on your work throughout this full 18-month program. And the final course in our character animation program is called Feature Animation, Acting, and Polish. And so that's what it's about, taking all that work you've learned in the past 5 terms, narrowing things down, polishing it up, getting it ready to be reviewed by hiring studios. So, you know, I don't know if the perfect demo reel exists, but we can definitely help you make a pro level demo reel.
Yeah, what does the perfect one look like?
What is a perfect? I want to see a
You never
perfect.
know. Caitlin has one. I was taking a quick look at your website. Notice you guys have a diverse range of animation for different industries, styles, and techniques.
Love it.
Can you talk a little bit about the difference between the 3D animation courses and the animating for gaming courses? Great question.
Yeah, very good.
And so, you know, our gaming character animation program, that is, you know, one of our newer programs that we have here. It kind of like, you know, spawned itself into life here is because we were offering, you know, these 6-week short courses, and we had so many people that wanted to get into game animation that were like, you know what, let's talk to some of our friends that are working for these studios and see what we can do to build a curriculum. So we did. And so the interesting thing is that the first 3 courses of character animation, animation basics, body mechanics, and advanced body mechanics are the same first 3 courses for
Right.
the game character animation program. Why is that? Because you need to have those 3, you know, sort of skill sets down. You need the principles, you need body mechanics, you need the advanced stuff, right? Where it changes in class 4. That's when they go into intro to acting if you're a character animator, right?
Fork in the road.
In the road. Where our game animators, they head over into their side going into games. They're using Unreal, they're using Maya in there, but this is where they're working on things like combat scenes and game, you know, interactive gameplay and cinematic cut scenes as class 6. So it's a big change at the end. And in many cases, we have a lot of our students that'll go through the game animation program. They might come back and take those last 3 courses in the animation program and roll out of here with a, you know, certificate of completion for the character animation program and the game animation program. So there's some similarities in there. Those first 3 courses are identical. So you've got that sort of buffer, if you will, 36 weeks, I guess, you know, right? Math will tell me that,
weeks.
right?
Yeah.
To kind of make that decision, whether you're like, you know what, maybe I want to go make movies. Or maybe you want to go make games, so you can kind of dive into that side. But if you want to go a little bit further in depth and actually maybe take a look in our student campus to see what's going on in the game animation program, Mars and I do these campus tours that are live through Zoom, where we'll take you in there, screen share, and show you everything that's going on in there, and to kind of help you understand how this whole thing works.
Yeah, and we also have creature animation courses too. So if you want to get a dog jumping around, or a cheetah running, or a dragon flying, ogres, monsters, creatures like that, you know, that's really attractive to hiring studios. So we do teach that type of.
It's attractive to me too. I love it.
I love a dragon flying.
What else we got? Fire away.
Fire away. Let's see here. Let's see. It looks like Sai's got a couple questions. What about in instances where someone's idea that you can prove that they had no reference for, like, you know, the person and were with them, they thought of the idea, video evidence is shown as such through the studio records, is very close to, if not exact to, a reference. Is there a high wow, that's a question. Is there a high chance that person would be potentially blacklisted from the industry entirely? I don't know if I know the answer to that question. I think it's a good question.
It is.
I don't
It's
know.
a lot of question.
Right? Do you have any thoughts on that, Tim? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, you'd have to be, I mean, to get blacklisted from the industry entirely, it'd have to be a real dirty situation.
It would have to be plagiarism for
sure.
It
would have to be huge. This show would have to be huge and also backed by a studio that was huge in order to have that kind of power and that kind of clout to do something like that. You know, our rule of thumb is you have to give somebody credit. So if you're using a rig in a shot or something like that, you should be giving that artist full credit in your reel. That way that they can see that, oh, okay, they're using my rig. However, they did mention me in their, you know, in their thing there. So, but it's hard. That kind of stuff is probably really hard to prove because we, you know what, we look at that stuff too. Cause we're like, wait a minute, is this from this or is this from this? And you're like, well, if there's subtle differences to it, sometimes people have, you know, different interpretations of something that maybe we'd seen in a magazine or in a movie. And we're like, all of a sudden we're like, wait a minute, that looks similar. Like, yeah, but this is my interpretation of that. And you're like,
Right.
it
Yeah.
could be one of those situations where it's like it's inspired by this, right?
Mhm.
So that's a tough one though, man.
Seems oddly specific. Like I'm
It really,
I'm asking for a friend, right?
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Hopefully
Asking
not.
for a friend.
Christine, when making a reel for advanced classes or to apply for an animation studio, what do they need to know? And do they learn the skills needed to go from no experience to having skills to do anything they wish to do with animation? I'm thinking about getting into animation, gaming, and many forms of animation. Um, cool. So I guess I don't know if I fully understand what you're asking. I guess learning the skills that you need to know for a demo reel. Well, again, that's exactly what we're teaching here. So we're showing you how to put a demo reel together specifically
Hmm.
for applying to studios. And it can be used in a lot of other areas because Christine and I were talking earlier, and they were really interested in finding out about learning animation for some of their own work. So that demo reel can be used in a lot of different ways. Definitely to be used by to apply to hiring studios, but some students decide to go the freelance route and want to showcase their work to potential clients, or it might be able to be used in a variety of different areas. Like well, I won't say too much just because I know Christine was working on some things. I don't know if that's public knowledge. So, yeah, I mean that demo reel, we're going to help you build that. That's sort of the main goal of the program, and that can be used in a variety of different ways.
Yeah, that's a
Look
good
at
one.
that demo
Yeah.
reel advice. Look at that link that just popped.
Boom, 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 boom. I dig it. I'm gonna attack the elephant in the room. Okay. Cycron, sir, I have one big doubt. Can AI replace our 3D animation industry, sir? Please tell sir. Cy, no way. You heard Nicholas. Hopefully you stayed in for that. The artists are the artists. AI is AI. It's not going anywhere. You just need to figure out how to use it to your advantage, right? Use it
Yeah.
for, use it for good, right? But it's never
Right.
going to take the job of animators within the industry. These are artists, right?
Yeah.
It can't do that. It can't create emotion. It can't create laughter. It's just not one of those things that it can do. But like we said, it's not going anywhere. It's kind of like what motion capture was when it first kind of like jumped into the industry. Everybody's freaking out. I'm going to lose my gig, man, because this motion capture thing is here. But then they found out that, wait a minute, this motion capture stuff is sort of loose, and I still need animators to come in and clean this stuff up, right? And finish the job that I started. And so it got its limitations, but it also has its advantages in certain areas. So have it do things that nobody wanted to do in the first place. We always joke around and go, oh yeah, give that job to Chad. He'll do it. Chat GP, give it to them. They'll, but it's not going to go anywhere. So just kind of work with it and don't worry about something that you can't control, right?
Yeah,
Just worry about like animating.
Right. Cool. Yeah, Christine and I did talk about AI. So I'm glad to hear our messaging aligns, which is great.
Yep.
Well, cool. Well, there's lots of ways to get a hold of us. Tim and I are professional responders. So if you do have questions that we didn't get to, you can certainly reach out. Admissions at Animation Mentor goes right to me and Tim. We answer questions all the time. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those places. If you send us a message somewhere, we will certainly reply to it. But there it is there. Thank you, Serja, for putting in our email address. Bo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's always nice to hear both of you, and especially Tim with your special guest that just joined in today.
She
Hanging
hangs
out back there.
around. I mean, I'll give you a little extra. There's the other one over there. You know what I mean? They're hanging out over there. It's almost like they're
working on
listening
reference
to-
video.
They are working on reference video. There may be, I may have like bumped them on the way out of here every now and then, because the one she continues to scream at me, the witch, which continues to, yeah, which continues to scream at me because she's plugged in. So
You should throw some sand at the bottom. It should be a sandwich.
oh,
Now I'm actually hungry. I skipped on breakfast and you've just activated the hunger. Well, thank you, Mars and Tim, for doing this awesome talk. Thank you so much for hanging out every single time in these webinars. It's always a joy to have you in here. Thank you all for staying in for this extra bit and asking all of these awesome questions. I hope you had a great time during this workshop, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. So until then, take care, have a great week, and we'll see you around.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.